In the last video we looked at vibrometer. So let's relook at it and then try to solve a numerical on it. So the objective of using a vibrometer is to measure the amplitude of vibration of the machine. So here you see a machine which is vibrating with this y of t, and this is the seismic mass. This is the seismic mass which is vibrating with an amplitude x of t, and this is a pointer with this scale. Okay, this scale is fixed to this frame. This frame is vibrating along with the machine. So this is the frame, and it is vibrating with the machine with y of t, and this mass is vibrating with x of t. So you have a spring and a damper, and when both are moving, so this is moving with x of t and this is moving with y of t, what happens is you have this relative displacement. When you try to take the reading with this also moving and this also moving, it is like a sheet of paper is also moving and your hand is also moving while writing. So it is like that. So you have to take the relative displacement. So what is the relative displacement? It is the z of t is equal to x of t minus y of t. So what is z of t? Z of t is actually the measurement that you make here. Okay, so this pointer points to some reading on this scale. Okay, so and that will be z of t. But what do you want to measure? You want to measure y of t. Okay, so you want to measure y of t, but the pointer, when it points to the scale, it is actually z of t. So z by y we derived in the last video. So this is the formula for z by y. Okay, so z by y is this. So what is the requirement? Whatever z is measured as the amplitude of vibration using the pointer and scale, that should be equal to the amplitude of vibration of machine to be measured. I'll just give an example, something not related to vibrations. Suppose take a thermometer and you want to measure the temperature of the water. So if the water temperature is say 50 degrees centigrade, how much do you expect the thermometer to show? Again, it should show 50 degrees centigrade. So you don't want it to show 70 degrees centigrade and then relate that with some value, correct? So this z, so coming back to this vibration, this z is the measured reading. So z is the measured reading and y is the displacement of the machine vibration. So if this measured reading should be equal to the amplitude of vibration of the machine, then what should be z by y equal to? It should be equal to 1. So this whole thing should be equal to 1. Eta square by root of 1 minus eta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square. When will this whole thing go to 1? When we use eta to be equal to or greater than 3. So take a calculator and put a value for eta to be greater than or equal to 3. Take any value greater than or equal to 3 and put any value for zeta. Zeta should be between 0 and 1. Okay, so put that. So you should get z by y almost equal to 1. Okay, almost, not exactly equal to 1 but almost equal to 1. If that is the case, then whatever you are measuring in z, that will be equal to the amplitude of vibration of the machine using vibrometer. So this graph shows that only. So this is z by y and this is eta. x-axis is eta omega by omega n. So here, if you see omega by omega n greater than 3, all the z by y values for whatever values of zeta is coming to be equal to 1. So that means what? Z is equal to y when eta is greater than or equal to 3. So approximately, not exactly equal to 1, but it can be taken as almost equal to 1. So the requirement for a vibrometer is this term should go to 1. So this happens when eta is greater than or equal to 3. So when does this happen? What is eta? Eta is nothing but omega by omega n. So if omega by omega n should be greater than or equal to 3, then omega n must be lower. Okay, omega n must have a smaller value. When will omega n will have a smaller value? What is omega n? Omega n is the natural frequency of the vibrometer. Okay, natural frequency of the vibrometer is omega n. When will omega n have a lower value? Omega n is equal to root k by m. Okay, so if m is higher, the seismic mass is having a higher value, then omega n will come down. So if you have a higher seismic mass, then omega n will have a lower value, then omega by omega n will be greater than or equal to 3. So let's look at a numerical. A seismic instrument with a natural frequency of 6 Hz is used to measure the vibration of a machine operating at 120 rpm. The relative displacement of the seismic mass as read from the instrument is 0.05 mm. Determine the amplitude of vibration of the machine. Neglect damping. Okay. So what are you supposed to find? Determine the amplitude of vibration of the machine. So in this you are supposed to determine y. Y is the amplitude of vibration of the machine. And what is the relative displacement of the seismic mass as read from the instrument is 0.05 mm. So what is that? It is Z. Z is given. So the relative displacement is given. So 0.05 mm. So if Z is 0.05 mm, what will be Y? So Y will be equal to 0.05 mm only if this whole thing goes to 1. Okay, but if this whole thing is not going to 1, then Y will not be equal to Z. Okay, so that we need to calculate. So what is given here? With a natural frequency of 6 Hz. So omega, so Fn is given, you can calculate omega n. Okay, and vibration of a machine operating at 120 rpm. So you can calculate omega. Omega is equal to 2 pi n by 60. So you can get omega by omega n easily. And neglect damping, he says, so zeta equal to 0. So you can calculate this and find out what is y from this. So I want you to try this and give me the answer. Next, coming to the accelerometer. So the objective of using an accelerometer is to measure the acceleration of the vibration of the machine. So this setup is very similar to the vibrometer. So it contains the seismic mass with which vibrates with x of t, and spring and a damper it will have. So this machine vibrates with displacement y of t. So the whole structure remains the same. So what differs is this: the denominator in this formula z by y, it is the same formula which we use for the vibrometer. So z by y is equal to eta square divided by root of 1 minus eta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square. In this formula, if the denominator, that is 1 minus root of 1 minus eta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square is equal to 1, is made equal to 1, then what will happen is z will be equal to y into eta square. So what is eta square? It is nothing but eta square into 1 divided by omega n square. So z is equal to y into omega square divided by omega n square if that denominator is made equal to 1. So since omega n is a constant for a given spring and a mass, since omega n is a constant, we can say that z is proportional to y omega square. So what is this y omega square? Y omega square is nothing but the acceleration of the machine. So if you put the units, y is in meters and omega square, it is radians per second square. So it is nothing but meter per second square. So it is the acceleration of the machine. Y omega square is the acceleration of the machine. So what are you measuring in this z? So z is measuring the acceleration here. So if this denominator thing goes to 1, then z will be equal to this zeta square into y. So zeta square is nothing but omega square by omega n square. But since omega n is a constant, so we can say z is proportional to y omega square, where y omega square is nothing but the acceleration of the machine. So by this you are measuring acceleration. So that is why this is called as accelerometer. So when will this happen? This will happen when eta is very less. Okay, when eta is very less, so this denominator can be approximately equal to 1. So if eta is less, then omega by omega n should be less. So omega n would be higher. So in comparison to a vibrometer, accelerometer will have higher natural frequency. Okay, accelerometer will have higher natural frequency and vibrometer will have lower natural frequency. So that should be the design criteria. So this is again a graph showing the range for the accelerometer and the range for the vibrometer. So you can see that omega by omega n, for higher values you can use that for vibrometer, where omega by omega n is very small, you can use that for accelerometer. This is a graph for the accelerometer readings. It is measured value divided by the true value versus omega by omega n. As you can see here, so what does this 1 indicate? 1 indicate the measured value and the true value are the same. So any deviation from this 1 is the error. Okay, measured value and the true value, we want it to be the same. That means we don't want any error. But what you see here, with an increase in this omega by omega n for various values of zeta, the error is going to increase. So if you are okay with plus or minus 1% error, okay, plus or minus 1% error, so this is okay. Okay, so what will be the value of omega by omega n? It would be 0.1. Okay, so this is if omega by omega n equal to 0.1, then for whatever values of zeta you take, the error in the measurement would be less than 1%. But if you take a zeta of say 0.7, okay, the damping ratio of 0.7 you take, okay, so and you want the reading to be having an error less than 1%. So what would it be? So this you can go up to this one. Okay, you can go up to this and you can have a omega by omega n equal to 0.4. Okay, so higher the values of zeta, you can have higher value of omega by omega n. So this is what it means, and so this would indicate the percentage error. So 1% error, less than 1% error, so the omega by omega n should be 0.4. anything more than 0.4 would lead to increase in the error percentage for zeta equal to 0.7. So this is how you read this graph and understand that accelerometers will have higher damping ratio because of this, so that they can go for higher eta value, that is omega by omega n. So let's look at this numerical where the accelerometer of natural frequency 100 Hz and damping ratio of 0.15 reveals that an engine vibrates at a frequency of 20 Hz and has an acceleration amplitude of 14.3 meter per second square. Find the percentage error in the measurement. So the percentage error would be 0 if this z by y into eta square is equal to 1. So that is this denominator should be equal to 1. Okay, so otherwise what will happen? It will lead to errors. So how to calculate this? I have calculated this as 1.04. How do you get this? So this would be 1 divided by root of 1 minus zeta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square. So calculate this. 1 divided by root of 1 minus zeta square whole square plus 2 zeta eta whole square, you will get 1.04. So what is the percentage of error? So it is 4%. So for 1 it is 1.04. So for 100 it will be 104. So it is 4% error. So measured value is equal to, measured value is nothing but z. So it is equal to true value into this 1.04. So you can find the true value would be equal to say 14.3 divided by 1.04, so many meter per second square. So that will be the actual acceleration amplitude. So this is how you solve some of the numericals in vibrometers and accelerometers. Thank you.